Hey guys, thanks for joining me up on Play Games. My name is Lance, and today I'm taking a look at a brand new game coming to Kickstarter called Legend of Drimek. This is a new game by Mystical Games. It is a 1 to 4 player game that takes roughly 60 to 90 minutes to play and is a fully cooperative game, so all the players are working together to defeat the scenario they've chosen to go on. So in the game itself, get ready to jump back into the 80s and 90s in the adventure games on your home console. You'll get to grab your hero's controller and go off into your scenario, breaking and destroying pieces of terrain, getting resources that you can use to purchase bridges and stairs, getting materia that you can pull off epic combos with, and defeating all kinds of different bad guys. On your way through this, the enemies aren't going to just stand by, they're going to move around the board and try to destroy you as well. And if you're able to meet the conditions for the scenario, you have won and moved on to the next level. So highlights for me in this game, I really enjoyed the way that they approached this one and offered that controller option, and it really does work very well. Each player is going to select a hero, and they will receive their hero's board that is styled in a controller using the D-pad and a number of 6-sided dice to control the way that they can move around the board, and then using their little push buttons to take different actions such as melee and ranged combat, jumping and interacting with different objects that are on the table. And of course, who doesn't like destroying terrain? All of us have been in those adventure games, and you just can't pass up something that you can destroy, no matter how often they drop something or doesn't drop something. And even in this, there's a lot of the times where you're going to draw a card and an enemy is going to pop out of a piece of terrain that you've destroyed, but you still want to do it because it feels good. So definitely very interesting with that and exciting, and being able to do those different things. And each scenario is going to provide different obstacles and different things you're going to interact with. The first scenario that you guys are going to take a look at, our heroes are going to be changing down around different totems to get to different colors so they can unlock a door that is going to take them to the next level. So another highlight for me is the artwork with this one. It was just a lot of fun. They did a great job with it. I love the characters. I love the models. Some really interesting things with this, and I love fantasy settings, as you guys know, so that was definitely a highlight for me as well. Definitely a game I would recommend checking out, and I will also have a video for a gameplay playthrough where I play through the first, middle, and end couple turns, so if you just want to check the game out and see how it plays, definitely check the link up in the top corner for that. As always, these are just my opinions. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of this one, if this is one you're interested in backing, why or why not, and let me know what you think. As always, if you find these videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider that like button, subscribing to my channel, as it really does make a big difference, helps me to continue to grow and produce these videos. And if you want to stay up to date on all my videos, also consider ringing that bell so you get notifications anytime I release new content. So let's head to the table, and I'll show you what this one's all about. So first, let me start by going through the heroes. So in the game, there are 4 main heroes. We have a human barbarian, an elf ranger, a human wizard, and a dwarf, either warrior or paladin. Not quite sure. Then let's go ahead and take a look at the heroes more in depth. So each of the heroes' cards is going to have their controller on it that is going to control their movements and their actions that they do, along with their defense and material that they're going to gain. Each of the heroes is going to have a range for their ranged attacks, the number of hit points that they have, and the enemies that they defeat. When defeating enemies in certain combinations, each time you defeat an enemy, you'll mark it, and then there's going to be a different set of combo cards that you'll be able to get based on the enemies you defeat. And each one of these is going to give you different rewards and different more actions and things you can do during your turn. From there, at the start of each player's turn, they're going to roll their set of dice that they have for movement, and this will give them their different movement values. Anytime you choose to do a movement, you have to play a die in there, and that costs an action. From that point on, you can spend the movement points to move in those directions, and that is not considered an action. And then each hero is going to have a different breakdown of the different actions that they can do. So for our dwarf here, he can do up to 2 melee actions, a turn, a ranged action, a jump action, and up to 3 use actions. And each of the heroes is going to have 7 actions that they can do during their turn that they're going to divide up between movement and doing different things. So in order to do a melee action, you simply just place a token in there and then you'll do that melee action. And each one of these is going to have conditions for it. For example, if we would choose to jump, let's go ahead and say that we're going to jump diagonally in this direction. Going up, we would have to both place the blue and the green die, and then we're also going to have to place the jump token, and then we'll reduce those values by 1 each. and then we would go ahead and move up, but that is going to cost 3 actions. From there, then we would continue on with our turn. Moving over to the enemies, there are 6 enemies currently in the game. Then there might be more added in the campaign or more that will be revealed once the game is released on Kickstarter. Currently, though, there are 6 that I am aware of, and these are the rats, spiders, skeletons, goblins, orcs, and lizardmen. Each of these enemies will have their own set of cards and will have their own specific actions that they're going to perform during their turn when they're activated. So, starting with the lizardmen, each one of them will move a number of spaces up or down on the waterfall and then shoot left and right, hitting all of the heroes that are in their line. With the orcs, they'll have a specific number of actions that they'll use to move around the board and attack heroes that they're the closest to. With the goblins, they're going to do a lot of different movement and ranged attacks, shooting both ways, potentially even diagonally shooting or up and down. So they're going to cause all kinds of problems from range. We have the skeletons, again, that will have specific actions that they'll move towards heroes and try to damage them. Spiders are going to go ahead and sling off their webs, going from one scenario to another, and interfering with heroes, either slowing them down or making it harder for them to destroy different pieces of terrain and whatnot. And then finally we have the rats that'll have a number of actions where they're going to try to get into contact with heroes, and then if they're able to, then they're going to start taking resources based on the number of actions that they have left. Now this wouldn't be an adventure video game without being able to destroy stuff. So there are going to be different terrain elements that the players are going to interact with and be able to destroy, such as boxes, trees, and stones that the players, once destroyed, will also receive resources for those that they can use to do different things, such as building stairs, building bridges, being able to buy more health or defense, and a number of other things. Now, each time a player destroys one of these elements, they will receive the resources, and they're going to have to draw a terrain card, and each one of these is going to do different things, such as bringing out new enemies, giving players materia, and a number of other things. So as you can see, there's all kinds of different cards with this, where a lot of them will pop out new enemies that the players will have to fight, and receiving materia for that as well. Now there's also going to be elements that the players will not be able to interact with, such as these here, where players are going to be stopped by them and they can't do much with them. And then we also have totems, where the players are going to be manipulating these throughout the game to unlock different areas and being able to turn them to different sides for the specific colors to unlock doors and interact with other elements of them. And then finally, 2 times during the round, potentially, the train is going to be regenerated, and you'll flip over one of these train cards, and it's going to outline in each one of these scenarios that you're using where these train pieces are going to be placed. So each one of those coordinates, you'll place a new piece of train of that type. If there is a hero or enemy there, you're actually going to do damage to them instead of placing those pieces of terrain. Next, we have the game board. So this one is going to keep track of all of our cards. We have all of our different enemy cards out. We're also going to have the train card and the combo cards with the different combo configurations that the players need to achieve to be able to draw one of those cards. And then finally, we have the round tracker. This is going to be the initiative chart that is going to determine when each of the enemies and heroes is going to activate. So at the beginning of each turn, you're going to gather up all of the different enemy tokens that are out there for enemies and all of the heroes. And yes, these are just prototypes, so some of those will be different. You'll mix them all up and then randomly draw and place those out. And this is going to determine the order in which enemies and heroes are going to activate during the round, starting at the top and working your way down. And each one of these is broken down into a section of 4 of the different tokens. So with this, each section, when at the start, you're going to determine the number of enemies and heroes, and then you'll draw one of the cards depending upon the results. So if there are more enemies than heroes, you'll draw a hero card, which is going to give a bonus to your hero. And if there are more heroes than enemies, you'll draw an enemy card, which will give a bonus to some of the enemies that are out there. If they're tied, then you will not draw any cards, and then you'll just resolve working your way down, activating each one of those groups. And all of the models that are out there in that group will activate, such as the orcs are in scenario 2. So any orcs in scenario 2 will be activated, and each one that's activated will draw an enemy card and resolve its effects. Then you'll also notice at the end of the 8th and 16th initiative, there's also a terrain respawn. So at that point, you would draw a terrain respawn card and resolve all of the effects of that. And then the last thing I want to go over are the playing boards themselves. So you'll have 4 of these different playing boards. As you can see, there's a separation in them. And this will be broken down into 2 different sections or 2 different stages, however you want to label it. And our heroes will be on different ones. Each of these is going to be numbered across from 1 to 12 and then down from A to E. So that'll give you your coordinates for the different things. So then I want to show you a player's turn and an example of it. So with our dwarf here, we're going to go ahead and start his turn. So anytime you start a player's turn, you're going to roll the dice to determine their movement. And then we're going to go ahead and head into it. So first off, our first action, we'll go ahead and spend a ranged attack on our goblin, as he is directly diagonal from us, and he is within our range of 3 spaces. This goblin had already had a wound on him, and each goblin has 2 hit points. So we have defeated him, so we'll remove him. We gain a materia for that we'll add to our area. So now we have enough that we can do a combo if we need to. And we'll also mark that on our chart. So at this point, we've killed a goblin and 2 orcs, which will meet a combo condition. So we'll get to draw a combo card and then remove those tokens. So with this one matches up with our combo that we have, and it's going to give us +3 melee attacks that we can use. So that's really handy. Then let's go ahead and destroy the stone there. So again, we'll do a melee attacks, and then we'll destroy that, removing it. And we get to draw or take 2 stone cubes for that. Then we also draw the top card of the train deck, and we have a rat that came out. So from there, we could choose to fight that rat and defeat him if we wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and do a jump action instead. So we're going to spend the token to jump, and we're going to jump up into this location here. So then we have to spend our movement. So we'll move those over and then reduce each by 1. So that'll be 4 and 3. And we did that jump button. So now we're up here, and that is our 5th action. Then let's go ahead and do an action to build a staircase. So that'll be 2 stone to do that. And we'll place a staircase in our location. Then let's go ahead and move up the staircase. So with that, now that we already have a movement cube out there, we can use that to simply move up. So this will drop down to 3 left, and we'll build a step up onto there. And that does not cost an action. Then let's go ahead and spend our combo card to defeat that orc up there, as he has 3 hit points. So this will do 3 to that. So we'll go ahead and spend that and defeat him, removing him, because the orcs are a really nasty threat. So we definitely wanted to get rid of him. And again, we will receive a materia for that, and we will mark that we defeated an orc. Then let's go ahead and take a look at how a combo works. So a special move. So each one of the characters has a different unique special move. So with the orc, you have to spend 3 materia. And then with the orc, he is going to travel in one direction, hitting everything in that direction, and then coming back. So he would do 2 damage to the lizardman, and he would destroy all of these things as well. Now each one of those you would draw a card for and resolve it. So the first one, we would have a materia that we would gain, and then the next one is we would place an orc, and we'd also gain a materia. Now we still have 1 action remaining that we can use stuff for. So for example, let's go ahead and say that we want to do a push action. That'll push this stone over there. From there, then, it would move on, as our character has done everything that they can. We still have some movement left, so if we wanted to, we could spend one of those to move as well. So, for example, we could go ahead and move all the way over here if we wanted to do that, for example. Or we could just stay here getting ready to interact with that totem. So at this point, our hero's turn is done, and then we would move on to the next unit in initiative order. So let's go ahead and say, for example, that the next one are the lizardmen. So you would draw and resolve a lizardman card for each one. So with this one, we would move up 1 and then attack left and right, but there are no heroes. And then for the next guy, he is going to move up or down 2 spaces. So let's say he moves up here and then attacks left and right. Then it would move on to the next character in initiative order. And this is going to continue until the round is over and until the heroes meet the conditions, or if all the heroes are knocked out, then the heroes have lost as well. Well, I hope you guys found this video helpful in deciding whether or not to back this title. I think this is a great title for players that enjoy fantasy settings, that are looking for a new and different adventure game, or enjoy video games, as this one really meshes those two together very well. And for those players that come back from the 80s and 90s video games, you'll definitely have an appreciation for this one, as it definitely gives you that feel of those old school adventure games where you're running around the stage, mashing buttons, trying to kill enemies and smash terrain to pieces to find out if there's anything in there that can help you in your quest to defeat the level. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comments section below and I'll do my best to answer them, or swing by the Kickstarter's main page and drop any questions you have there as well. I'm sure the creators would love to hear from you and are more than happy to answer any questions you have. And if you found this video helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to my channel, as it really does make a big difference, helps me to continue to grow and produce these videos. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.